Football with friends is fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap here with Cody Carpentier on a big Friday, the first Final Takes Friday of the new Football with Friends schedule. Cody, how are you doing, brother?
Doing fantastic. Made it through another week. It means we're another week closer to the 2024 football season. So I'm here. I'm ready. Football with Friends, Final Takes Friday. We're back, baby.
Has it been a full 2 weeks now that we've been doing this? It's been two now. It's been two, and it's been great, man. We can't thank you guys enough for continuing to tune in and being here with us for this deal. So, all right, Cody, did you put up the voting thing on YouTube for Final Takes?
I didn't put it up yet. I was going to put it up at the halfway point.
Okay, so basically, here's how Final Takes works. As always, man, we're getting right into football. We really respect your time. We appreciate you taking an hour here with us. So no chit chat, no small talk, but we do have to explain the game. And the game is basically we just ask a question. And I thought I guess it's 10. But for some reason, it's been so long since we played that I actually made 10 myself. Cody made 5, so we'll go through. We'll see how many of these we totally get to. But you guys will vote for Alex or Cody for who's the best. I really think that I really think it'll be me with the better answers, but we'll see. I think did you win last year at all? Maybe a couple Fridays.
Are you kidding me right now?
A couple Fridays. All right. Final takes. All right. So Cody's going to get Cody will get his stuff up here pretty soon. But the guy we put on the cover, Mike Fasusi. Can we maybe
That's not Fasusi. That's Jarrett Gibson.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. The guy we put in the title.
The title.
Do you expect me to know the difference between a title and a thumbnail and a cover, dude? I'm such a boomtown guy for my age, man. The guy who we put in the title, Fasusi, and Cody put the very intriguing title, Fasusi to Oklahoma, ? And it isn't like that is written in stone yet, but Jason did have some reporting last night over at Orange Bloods. Do you want to kind of just go over that before I ask this first Final Takes question and we get into it? What's the latest with Mike Fasusi?
Well, I think there's multiple things that are going on, and it was talked about on Jason's had a complete conversation with Fasusi about everything, asking him basically about the schools that are in contention, and it feels like it comes down to literally just Texas and Oklahoma. I had a piece up, the Michigan piece that centered around the 5 teams in that Texas plays, the big 5 schools, and Oklahoma had a piece on their website, on their rival site, talking about how Fasusi feels like he's a lock in their opinion, not maybe a lock, but like he's more of a lean to Oklahoma than anything. And then today on House Divided, Catch also discussed, when I talked about having confidence a couple weeks ago, and he did a little revisit to the confidence piece today on Orange Bloods, and he basically said, like when I said that wasn't centered around Fasusi. Like I think everybody took that for granted, like that meant the confidence is high going into August. They took that as well. Fasusi commits in August, so that means we're getting Fasusi. That he basically said today on the show verbatim that was not pointing at Fasusi. They actually didn't feel the best about Fasusi, if we're being completely honest with ourselves. So I think there's a multitude of things that are going on right here. Whether it be Jason's piece where he completely sat down and had a talk with Fasusi, and Fasusi said his mind was completely made up already, which is 2 weeks out from commitment day. In quotes, I have my mind made up.
That's the 21st, right? It's the 21st. Or am I getting that mixed up with Jonah Williams?
Correct.
Jonah Williams is the 24th.
Correct.
Okay. All right. 2 weeks. Yeah. Like
so
2
technically,
weeks.
It's between Texas, Oklahoma, A&M, Florida, and Oregon. But nobody really thinks Florida and Oregon are actually in there.
God, what if he went to Oregon?
That would be something.
That would be,
yeah. But yeah, I mean, the quote, you can take it for what it is. This is from Jason's piece. He said, I love the culture. This is for Oklahoma. I love the culture. Those guys work hard every single time. Coach Bedenbaugh and Coach Venables, they never fail to tell me that OU is the best choice. Me and my family love it there. Texas, in quotes. Texas, first of all, it starts with the resources, the people. It's a good place to be. I love Austin as a whole. Texas has always given me a home feeling from the start. So there's that. And then if you go on over to the Oklahoma site, there's a multitude of quotes from Fasusi, including one that am kind of sus about, where these reporters on the Oklahoma site kind of said that he didn't have a great visit at Austin, which we've never heard. So I don't really know nothing about that, but I will say, for what my fan futurecast counts for, which is about 2 pennies to the piss in a pot.
Why don't they give you a real future cast? Why do you have to keep on doing that puny fan one?
So I will say, I wrote that like in the 24-hour chat over in Orange Bloods, and I said, somebody asked about Fasusi or something. I said, well, for what it's worth, I changed my futurecast, my fan futurecast, to Oklahoma for Fasusi, and Catch said, "You're what?"
Because it's so dinky.
Like, you didn't know, like.
I mean,
But for what it's worth, and I am number 2 in the Orange
Bloods
Bloods network.
Professional.
I'm number 2 in the Orange Bloods network in 2025 on Fan Futurecast. So come on.
You put in the fan futurecast. Okay. Well, dude, I mean, look, man, but I think that I mean, I wouldn't tell fans just to throw in the towel on Mike Fasusi, man. It's still the University of Texas. They still, I mean,
would.
You would.
I would throw it in for now.
Jason said he'd still put it at 50-50.
Yeah. Well, that's weird because Jason is usually not an optimist in that direction. Usually he'd be one to go, yeah, it's probably going the opposite direction. So I like that, but I will say, just taking like that step back, like I've always told everybody that's always tapped into Football with Friends, whether it's ready to content or done any show that you and I have been on, and I've told you this, I am no fan to anybody. I might, do Texas stuff and work for Texas affiliate. I'm not a fan of anybody. So I try to consume as much in a positive direction from everybody, and just stepping back and reading from what Oklahoma's putting, from what Texas is putting, from what y'all are saying. Like, it feels like it's Oklahoma, and it feels, and this is another piece of this that is a maniacal piece, where maybe it's just because you watch so much football, you have like a vision and stuff. Like, it's sometimes a lot in the NFL, you see guys in jerseys and you're like, well, that guy's definitely going to be a Dolphin. Like Jalen Wright this year, that guy's a Dolphin. Fasusi, like,
it isn't quite Xavier Worthy.
Just fill in the blank.
It isn't quite Xavier Worthy in a Chiefs uniform that you can just see in your dreams.
Kind of.
I don't think so, man. I'm still going to hold out hope for Fasusi
or whatever,
but it brings me to my first question, and here we go. Final Takes is back. If Mike Fasusi commits to Oklahoma, that will mean Texas missed on both DeCorian Moore and Fasusi. We said back in the spring that it would make the class a failure not to land at least one of those guys eventually. Is that still true?
No, I don't think that's a failure. I posed the question in the 24-hour chat today, or maybe it was last night. I don't recall. There's 24 hours of pure madness. And the way I asked the question was, I believe, to Catch, about Nick Brooks and Lockett. And I said,
Brooks is the 400-pound kid from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, right?
That is correct. So the way I posed the question was in a buy or sell format. I said, Nick Brooks plus Khalil Lockett is 70% of Mike Fasusi and DeCorian Moore, and that's okay. And Catch sold it.
Yeah,
he sold it and said it's more than 70%. So he thinks you're getting more than 70% of Fasusi and DeCorian Moore out of Nick Brooks and Khalil Lockett. Everybody else on the board seemed to have been completely off of the factor that so I think innately I think Catch bought it because he said it's more than 70%. I think if that makes sense. Right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just the fact that those are the two biggest priorities. You land your two biggest priorities, and then it's like I see Chad Gibson in the chat here on the side. Like, and thanks to everybody for being in there. I can't believe, Cody, only 10 minutes in the show, already 300 people in here watching. Man, that's just on a Friday. It's crazy, man. Thank you guys for continuing to come back. If you can remember to like the show and subscribe to the channel, we would certainly appreciate it. And we'll get the voting up for the winner here in a second. But I don't, Well, I mean, I guess it's not the question, but it's just Fasusi, DeCorian Moore coming into this cycle. They were the two that we said this needs to happen with one of these two guys. They're the two biggest ones. It's Mike Fasusi no matter what. It's DeCorian Moore no matter what. Just like last year it was Colin Simmons no matter what, and et cetera, right? Um, for that reason, and for the fact that I think Nick Brooks, like Chad Gibson is saying, 400 pounds. Kesh has a lot of stats on this. On one, I talked about this on the old fashioned show. It's like a lot of times, man, these guys that weigh 400 pounds come in, and it's like, yeah, they're really big and they're good, but not everybody's a Cam Williams. I said previously that yes, the recruiting class, especially given, not so much at wide receiver, because at wide receiver there are ways that you can backfill. You don't backfill Mike Fasusi. You don't. With the offensive line recruiting class that they have right now, which is the Campbell brothers the Coleman brothers, and Jackson Christian and John Mills, like it really needs that. That to me just feels a lot like 2023. It doesn't have a crown jewel like 2024 does with Brandon Baker. It doesn't have and look, Goosby's turned out good from 2023. And maybe one of these guys will turn out to be good, but it certainly doesn't have a 2022. It doesn't have a Kelvin Banks plus DJ Campbell plus Cam Williams. So to me, it's like, if the offensive line recruiting is something where it's going to have to lead them to, dude, they're going to lose a lot of these offensive linemen. There's a world that exists where they lose all 5 after this season. I don't think it's likely.
I do. I think it is likely.
It's likely?
I think it is likely. I think that if you put a number on losing all 5 guys, it'd have to be north of 65%.
Oh, no. Because I think that Cam Williams on his own is probably 50-50, and so is DJ Campbell. So with that being the case, I think it's probably a 25% chance that all 5 go.
I don't think so. I'd make a bet with you if you want to make a bet in the
all right. What do you want to make? I mean, what do you want to do? Are you going to give me do I have to give you odds, or do
you're 0-2 in the Orange Blood Sportsbook, so you're the one that has to kind of,
okay. So you're saying all 5?
All 5 are gone.
Okay, and I say all 5 aren't gone. Do you want to put a couple Jersey Mikes on it?
I'll do 2 Jersey Mikes.
2 Jersey Mikes. Okay, so I get
I'll
the Jersey Mikes. I want a Mike's way, and I want that like red relish on them.
Oh, did you get my voice chat last night?
No, what was it?
Yes, you did.
I'm not sure I did. Well,
you didn't. I voice chatted you my order in behalf of Jordan Matthews.
Oh, get out of here! No, I didn't. No, I wouldn't have checked that anyway. I can't believe that you won that bet. JT Sanders, what are you doing?
Anyway, Fasusi, DK Moore. Is it a failure? I don't think it's a failure. I do think it matters to a certain extent that they don't have a crown jewel. You believe?
I think the class has a crown jewel
coming in.
It's in Jackson.
Correct. Well, I mean, even to that extent, like he's currently a 4-star, like he's not a nationwide crown jewel, like he's not nationwide respected. Now, again, from a Texas perspective, and this is where I'm going with this, is that he's respected by Texas. Texas believes he's a 5-star stud. Otherwise, I think that's very true. But also, I'm not entirely worried if Texas isn't entirely worried, right? If they believe in the guys that they got. You brought up the 2023 class. Trevor Goosby, 3-star, 5.7 rating. Andre Kojo, 3-star, 5.7 rating. Connor Stroh, 3-star, 5.7 rating. Jaden Chapman, 4-star, 5.8 rating. 3-star, 5.7. All those offensive linemen. Kirkland's going to be starting for Colorado. Stroh.
No, let's not talk about Kirk. Dude, Kirkland was no good.
I don't care. That's not the point. The point is, like, the guy's playing for Colorado right now.
Colorado's O-line stinks. Anybody can go.
I understand that.
Play for him.
They did get the number 1 recruit last year's class. Anyway, Stroh, Kojo, Goosby, and Chapman are going to be doing what next year? They're going to be competing for a starting job. Those are 3-star, 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 4-star.
Chapman won't be.
You don't think if there's 5 guys gone?
Bro, I guess Stroh will certainly not be. Absolutely no, zero chance, zero shot, no, 0.00% that Connor Stroh starts next season.
I didn't say starts. I said 365 days from now, all four of those guys are going to be competing for a starting job. 5 guys gone. 5 guys need to step up. That
Yeah.
class had 3-star, 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 4-star, 5.7, 5.7, 5.8. Look at this year's class. Like if
Cody,
they
what I'm
get,
saying,
if
what
they
I'm
get
saying is, if Connor Stroh and Jaden Chapman are competing for a starting job, we're in a whole different world than we are right now.
this is the
That's
same
just the way
class.
it is.
This is the same class. Jackson Christian, 5.7 3-star. Jordan Coleman, 5.7 3-star. John Mills, 5.7 3-star. You get Nick Brooks, all of a sudden, guess what? You got yourself a 4-star.
But Cody, whenever you have a class where you get a Kelvin Banks, a DJ Campbell, a Cam Williams, and then 2 years later you get a Brandon Baker, you like the pipeline is loaded up to where you can eventually ascend to where Texas is going to be here in 2024. I told you there's a big difference between the way this offensive line looks and the way that if all those guys leave and dudes like Kojo are pushing to start, Kojo probably would be in line to start. I mean, he'd be fighting it out with Brandon Baker to start if Cam Williams left. That's just how it would go.
Correct.
And certainly Gooseby would be, he'd be starting. Like, so yes, those guys would be starting, but they're not Banks and they're not,
They don't have to be Banks.
well,
Like,
it's
Banks
it's been pretty nice to have a Kelvin Banks.
Okay. So when I had this argument with Ketch about a month ago, whether the importance of offensive line or receiver was important, he basically said that, which was more important. Sorry, he basically said he thought DK Moore, DeCorey Moore, was more of a 6-star prospect and was that much better than what Fasusi is. So he doesn't believe Fasusi is on the Banks level. I would say. I haven't asked him that question head up. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I would say he maybe thinks he's close, but I don't think he thinks he's there. He talked about Brandon Baker being a guy that's 2 years away right now. Ketch said that on the show today, that he thought Baker was 2 years away from being a starter from what he's heard on the inside. So we can say Baker is that crown jewel. Banks obviously did Banks things, right? Started early. What if this class just isn't going to have that? Nick Brooks could potentially be there, but he's going to come in massive if he commits, that is, hypothetically. But what if I understand the fact of like, oh, we want to get the crown jewel every single year. That's how you build it all up. But what if that crown jewel is 2026 and it's John Turpentine? What if that's the crown? What if it's, that's your next Kelvin Banks? You don't get the Kelvin Banks every single year. I mean, I understand the factor of being like, we're Texas. We want him, we get him like that, but that's just not the reality of the world. Maybe it was at one point when you were really good, you had those things because you're like, we're Texas. But with the NIL world, it's just different. And in how they're building the offensive line, offensive line better than offensive line better than most like a lot of people. I would say you would have to have an opinion of the fact that they've brought Kyle Flood's been able to bring these offensive linemen along, and those 3-3-stars that we just talked about are going to be competing for starting jobs next year. They're bringing in currently 3 3-stars in Jackson Christian, like I said, Devin Coleman.
Cody, Jordan
Coleman.
But you're making my point for me.
No,
there's going to be guys that are 3-stars that are competing and they're competing for jobs because there's nobody ahead. There aren't as many Fasusis. There hasn't been this frequency of players. There was none in 2023. It looks like Gooseby's going to be a hit. The jury is still out on every single one of those guys, and I'm worried about a few of them that I'm just like, I'm not sure when they're going to come around. And then I feel like I have the exact same evaluation of 2025 right now that I originally did of 2023, especially if 2025 adds one of these dudes that feels a little bit like a novelty big dude like Brooks and Connor Stroh and Peyton Kirkland and all the rest. So look, I'll go ahead and chalk up my points for that.
I'll take my last take here. My last take on this thought is the fact that this entire second team offensive line, you could probably name them off right now. I had them on a sheet of paper, but I threw it away a while ago. This entire offensive line in the second team,
from left to right: Trevor Gooseby, Nato Yamuzalo, Connor Robertson, Cole Hudson, Andre Kojo.
Okay, so hypothetically, 365 days from now, the starting 5 are gone. That starting 5 has 365 days of practice, not actually, but they have the next 5-6 months of practice against the first team defense second team defense every day at practice with Arch at quarterback, that's the team in 2025. It's Arch with that offensive line, maybe Cam. Unlikely.
The question is that good?
You're just saying they're going to be bad. That's 365 days. 365.
I understand. I'm not saying it's going to be bad, but I'm saying, is it good?
Devondre Sweat wasn't good 365 days before he was good.
Well, that's a fair enough point. Fair enough point. Man, I can't believe it, man. Creeping up to 400 people in the chat right now, man. It's awesome, dude. We definitely love doing the show here and love having you guys with us. The one thing that does bother me a little bit about doing this show, it's at 6 p.m., is that every Friday I used to go into Texas Beef Traders. It was just every Friday I would go into Texas Beef Traders. I would go see Daryl. I'd go see Darren. I'd go see Shay. I'd go see Dan. They'd give me a beer. We'd hang out, eat some steak, have some burgers. Dude, my son loves hanging out at Texas Beef Traders too, man. We go up there. We hang out. It's a real cool place to hang out right there in the heart of Lakeway. Have you been to Texas Beef Traders? Or are you still eating the beef from the grocery store that probably comes from Argentina and shot up with all kinds of steroids and mRNA vaccines? Have you been to Texas Beef Traders? I'm telling you guys, you can scan the QR code right there and just go look at what they have. But look, I wouldn't be talking about it so much if it wasn't the best beef there is. Right from Mason, Texas. It comes in every Wednesday. It's fresh. It's processed right there. It's hung for 13 days so the meat can stretch out. It's just so tender. It's so delicious. It's so good. And here's the thing. It's cheaper than the grocery store. At Texas Beef Traders, you're supporting local farms. You're supporting local ranchers. You are supporting a great local company and great local dudes there, man. They're awesome. They work hard. They do an awesome job building that community. I love Texas Beef Traders, and you'll love it too. And look, the reason why you're going to keep going back, it's not because they're all such cool dudes and because you're supporting all this stuff and you're putting clean protein in your body. You're getting delicious beef, and it's much cheaper than the grocery store. Plus, you get 10% off if you tell them that you heard about them here on Orange Bloods Live. Just make sure and tell them that. Go to Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com, right there off of Loman's Crossing in the heart of Lakeway. All right, Cody, let's get to the next one. Your final take.
I just wanted to say one thing quick about Texas Beef Traders, and that's the fact that I just Googled where my steak that I just had for dinner was from, and I found out just now that it's from New Zealand, and that upset me. So
well,
go to Texas Beef Traders.
All right. At least it's not Argentina or whatever. Venezuela. Who knows?
It's not American. That's the point. All right. Final takes. Jarek Gibson is leading Texas in rushing through the first 4 games.
It was just like a buy or sell mixed with a final take.
Whatever. Take it however you want it.
It's a total sell. It's terrible. No, Jaden Blue's going to lead the team in rushing through the first 4 games. I know there's all the Chad Gibson's. I just saw this and it's about Texas Beef Traders. No, 10% off every single time that you go to Texas Beef Traders. Just tell them you heard about them at Orange Bloods. You always get 10% off. Jarek Gibson, no, I think that there's a 5%. If you would have asked, is it more or less than a 5% chance that Jarek Gibson is the leading rusher through the first 4 games? I might have said that I could buy that. Say all maybe right. Once
it's better. It's better, Alex. Blank is leading Texas in rushing through the first 4 games.
Well, I'll go chalk and final takes, man. It's Jaden Blue.
Oh.
And I know that they say they're gonna Sark says, we're going to run all these guys. We're going to try to get is that your line here? That Sark's, narrative is that we're going to run so many dudes and we want to see how they all look and everything. And now with CJ Baxter being out, it really does kind of put his feet to the fire to say, I gotta get game film on these guys. I mean, I think Jaden Blue's the leading rusher. And I think that even if you do get extra time out of these dudes, I think it's going to be mostly, after he's done his work. So, yeah. Do you think that this is even conceivable?
I think Blue obviously has a shot because Blue's going to be the starter. The way I projected it, and the reason I asked the question is because the way I projected it, I was looking at basically what Gibson, Trey Wisner, and Christian Clark were going to get for carries. And if you just take those 3 guys into account, each game of the first 4 outside of the Michigan game, I project those 3 to out carry Blue because I don't think that they're going to push Blue north of. I have 12, 23, 15, 12 the first 4 games. 23 against Michigan, and even against Michigan, 23 carries. Unless he bursts one, it's going to end up being like a 40 to 80, 40 to 70 yard game for Jaden Blue.
Oh, on 23, you think he's going to go for 3 yards a carry?
Against Michigan, against Mason Graham, against Kenneth Grant, against that defense. Like, I'm just telling you, like, it's not going to be.
Texas is a real, like, Texas. I mean,
I understand.
Texas is a really good offensive line this year.
Listen, I understand that. We just got done talking about it, but what I'm telling you is, like, my expectation is a little. That's the one game that you can guarantee me probably that Jaden Blue's going to lead the backfield in carries, guaranteed, because the other 3 games are perceived to be blowouts, even though I don't think the Colorado State game is going to be a blowout. But in those blowouts, you're going to get a second half full of carries, full of Clark, full of Gibson, plenty of Wisner. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a knock on Jaden Blue if I say that, give me the field, like give me Gibson, give me Wisner, as far as leading the team in rushing through first 4 games. I'm not saying that's going to happen for the year. I'm just saying through the first 4 games, because you get UTSA, you get UL Monroe, you get Colorado State out of that whole deal. So, yeah, give me Gibson.
I still think you gotta get your 21 points or whatever on the scoreboard before you start putting in all the backups and stuff. But
Correct.
I understand that these guys they're gonna have to be more than backups. But the other thing too is this Gibson. What if it's Christian Clark?
Could be
Christian Clark. So I think that there's no way that he is. Let's go to the next one here. Scrimmage this weekend. So scrimmage tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Then after the scrimmage, they're going to be having like a family barbecue. There are going to be lots of people there at the scrimmage. So hopefully there'll be I know that there'll be a bunch of reporting that we have on it over at Orange Blood. So make sure that you check in over there for the scrimmage reports. And when we do get those reports, Cody, which Texas player will be the one that people at the scrimmage will be talking most about on Saturday afternoon?
Anthony Hill.
Well, he always, because here's the thing, dude. I think that that's a great answer. Do you know why? It's because I try to explain. I try to explain to people. They're like, well, what about the quarterbacks? What about Ant Hill? What about all these? Like, how do they look? And I'm just like, well, dude, I thought you already know that those guys are really good. You know what I mean? When I go to practice and I report on these guys, if I say, yeah, Anthony Hill had a great practice. Anthony Hill, dude, he looks like $1 million, future star. But like, people are going to say, like, dude, tell me something I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, what about some of these transfers that came in? Like, I've never seen them. Tell me about those. Like is Jermaine Lole big? Is he too fat? What, what you tell me that, it's like from, what's the bit like Billy Madison? It's like Miss Lippy's car is green. It's like, what? what kind of insight is this? But I do think that whenever you get people there who might not be around the team quite as much, right? Or who might not, they're watching it and stuff like that. You just ask them who looked good. Anthony Hill always, right? He always makes plays in these kinds of settings. So I think that's a good one.
Thank you. Thanks for making my take for me. I appreciate that.
That's probably better than mine. Well, mine was going to be, I was going to go back to these running backs. I think that
I just want everybody to know before you do that Alex just made my take for me, so the votes are up.
well, if you liked my take,
it's my take. I had the take of Anthony Hill. He decided to take it and run. So
no, but I mean, it's
a great take on my behalf. You're right.
Okay. The part about I think that so much of this stuff is driven by not only the person who is being asked the questions, but the person who's asking the questions. And I just feel like everybody's going to be asking about the running backs. People don't know what it looks like. We're going to have to continue to ask, like, how does Wisner look? How does Jarrett Gibson look? Right. And whenever you do, you'll get notes and reporting on them. And so that's why I naturally kind of said, I think it'll be the running backs, but I do think that Ant Hill is a good one, or just any of these other like I think probably the people say Quinn Ewers was spot on.
That's going to be the one, right?
What?
That's probably the one. The Quinn thing. If he looks in any way, shape, or form like he's a half step, a step, 2 steps ahead of where he was last year, that's definitely going to be the line, right? I mean, because obviously also, who's going to be in attendance?
Well, family and friends of players.
Okay, so
and
family and
friends,
friends,
a bunch of alumni.
Okay, so alumni. If you hear some stuff from alumni, it might be a little deeper. But I feel like from family and friends, and this is not to knock any family and friends, but they might look more at the base level and just be like, "Damn, the quarterback, he looks different this year." Like,
yeah,
that could be something that is. It's one of the first things you notice when you walk into a stadium and you're watching something. You go, "That well, the quarterback, he didn't look like that last year." Like, that's something that could 100% be of instant analysis.
Yeah. All right. What's your next one?
All right.
So I'm guessing we're not going to get to all 10 of mine. Final takes, Cody. What is this?
You don't like my question format, so I'm going to keep this one here, and I'm going to go
Colorado State.
Colorado State keeps the opener within how many scores?
We need to do something where we look into Colorado State. I don't know what to think about them. I don't really.
They got a disgusting wide receiver. I'll tell you that today. People think we're going to walk through them. I'm not a Longhorn. I don't know why the hell I said we're. People think Texas is going to walk through them. All I'm going to tell you is Torrey Horton. If Manny Muhammad doesn't take him serious, if Jahdae Barron doesn't take him serious, he might go for $140.
How big is he and how fast?
6'1", 182, probably runs a 4.44, 4.42. Super talent, dude. He's sick. He's going to be a top. I would say right now he's probably top seven in the class next year.
Do you like it better than you like Javon Baker from UCF last year?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. But not as much as like you like him better than Brian Thomas Jr.?
Yeah. Well, I'm not high on Thomas, though. You knew that.
Isn't the line already up on this? I think it's like minus 20.5 or something.
Probably
wasn't that up before? So I mean, you're right on. If that is still correct, I'm not sure if that is if that's right. No, I mean, dude. I'm gonna lose this. I'm gonna lose this tape because you actually know some of the personnel. I don't. You know, that week we'll have a big preview and we'll go through. We always go through the future opponents and kind of look at them, but I don't know. I'm gonna say Texas. I think Texas looks like a really good football team right now, man. I think they look like a really good football team that should roll over a sub team like Colorado State. I think that
the opening line is 35.5.
So I was way off. Yeah, dude, they're gonna roll them, dude. The markets are telling us that, of course. Yeah, they're gonna roll them.
Completely 50. You're probably right around 20. 35, yes.
Yeah.
So 57. That's an implied 40. No, what is that? 42 to 15.
Well, you take so it's a 37.5 with a 57 total. So you take 50. Okay, so you take 57 and you cut 57 in half and you get 23.5, and then half of 35 is 17.5. So 23.5 plus 17.5 is like an implied 41 to what
41 15. There you go.
Yep. All right. What's the next one? It's the next one for me. This is a variation of one of the questions that got asked on the board last night in the chat, and I thought it was good. And I answered it and you answered it, but I've added some extra things on here. Okay. Out of the class of 2024, so the guys that are here right now, right? The freshmen. Which freshman will have the biggest impact in 2024? Which will have the biggest impact in 2025? Which is the most likely to leave after 3 years? And which will go highest in the draft?
Whoa, I was going to say that you added the leave after 3 years one.
and which will go highest in the draft.
Okay, so it's an alteration.
Yeah, it's kind of like the one that got asked.
Yeah.
So you and I said that which freshman will have the biggest impact in 2024. My answer to that, it would have been Ryan Wingo, but I think with the CJ Baxter situation, I think it has to be one of the running backs now. I think either Jared Gibson or Christian Clark. And if I have to pick one, I think I might. Man, my heart wants to say Clark, but my head, for some reason, it keeps telling me to say Gibson.
Your head's
and
right.
I don't know why. The freshman will have the biggest impact in 2024, I think, is going to be one of those running backs. So I'll say Gibson. The one who will have the biggest impact in 2025, I think that's going to have to be Colin Simmons, which is the most likely to leave after 3 years. I can't believe I wrote this and didn't really think about it.
It's kind of a cocky-made question, if I'm being honest.
The most likely to leave after 3 years is either Ryan Wingo or Colin Simmons.
Oh, I totally read that wrong.
And which will go highest in the draft.
I totally read which one will leave after 3 years as who's transferring. I don't know.
No. Like who's going to the NFL
I got you. I don't know why I digested it that way. That's funny.
I mean, gosh, I must just be crazy about Colin Simmons, but he's my answer for the final 4 of them. I think next year he starts. I think Trey Moore leaves and he starts next season. They're not going to. I don't see any way that Justice Finkley is the starter next year at that edge. It's going to be Colin Simmons.
I would agree. Out of the class of 2024, the freshman that have the biggest impact this year is Gibson, because I believe that's the running back that gets the biggest kick up in carries. However, and I would have told you that last night. However, I'm going to pivot this to Ryan Wingo because I do think Trey Wisner has a bigger role than I think. Gibson's going to get some good run, but I'm not sure it's going to be quite enough to overtake the touchdown qualifier that we get from Ryan Wingo, which could be north of 6 or 7 touchdowns, which I think outweighs a 500 or 600 yard season from a Gibson. So I'm going to go Wingo for the freshman with the biggest impact, which will have the biggest impact in 2025 because they're bringing in Lockett. Because when you look at the depth chart of the offense, I think there's still potential that a guy like Golden returns. Jonte, DeAndre Moore,
it's the most likely thing that Golden.
I think Wingo is going to be the most likely in 24, but in 25, it's 100% Simmons because of what we talked about yesterday with Trey Moore departing. He's going to slide down and immediately plug in to the Trey Moore role, which is going to be a 10 sack plus role, which is most likely to leave after 3 years. Again, Simmons, because he's going to be a top 10 pick if he has a 10 sack season or 2 10 sack seasons and continues to mature at the rate that he does, which will go highest in the draft among that class. Again, unless Wingo is Julio, which he's really good, but I don't think he's Julio, AJ Green. It's going to be Simmons again. So I think I'm Wingo, Simmons. You're Gibson, Simmons.
Can you believe that we're going to be creeping up on like 600 people here in the chat right now on a Friday? This is unheard of, on a Friday, man. Thank you guys so much for being here and hanging out with us. We can't thank you enough. We also can't thank Poncho Outdoors enough for being a great sponsor here of the show. We have Colt McCoy there wearing a real fancy looking Poncho shirt. And Poncho has been cool enough they're sending us some gear, and they have this new Longhorn, burnt orange gear that's coming out. They're going to have a big announcement for it on September 1st. And I'm sure that stuff will sell out because here's the thing. Once you wear these Poncho shirts, you're really not going to want to wear anything else. They're so breathable. You can wear them fishing. I wear them fishing. I wear them hunting. I wear them when I'm out at the hunting lease, just helping the guys out there with refilling feeders and stuff like that. I wear them to church. They're nice enough to do that. And you can get them in long sleeve, short sleeve. You can get the Western with the pearl snaps like that. I can't get over just how well made they are. They're awesome shirts. They're big supporters of the university, and we cannot recommend those guys enough. So make sure and check out Poncho Outdoors. You can scan the QR code there. All right. How do I get that QR code out of Cody's face here?
You click on
it. Where is it? I didn't put it up, did I?
Yeah,
okay.
You're welcome. I took it down. All right.
Thank
Next
you
up, final takes.
Is it one of mine now?
It's me.
Or is it one of yours?
Last one is you. We need a cold take for 2024.
What, like something that's not hot at all?
Something that's going to dampen people's feelings on something. So hot take is going to be like, hey, bold take, cold take.
Oh, okay. Is it like a bold cold take or just like something that's going to crush everyone's spirits to hear?
Let's do it. Let's do a bold cold. I like that.
Okay, so it's a bold cold
sounds better.
Texas is going to lose a football game to a team that it absolutely shouldn't lose a football game to. It's probably going to happen. And with that being said, I do think that there's going to be a game where there's going to be a game where they stub their toe, and it's going to be something awful like Mississippi State or God forbid Texas A&M or Florida, something where they just show up and they're flat. And Sark says afterwards he should have known because it was a bad practice on Friday and all the rest of the stuff. And it's like, but with that being said, I don't think it's terrible because I think there'll be some of these games that we're projecting to be super close or real tough. I think there'll be one of these games like Michigan or Georgia or OU where Texas just blows somebody out. You know what I mean? So I think that they'll make up for it on those bigger games. But I do think there's probably going to be a game where Texas stubs its toe this season, and it's going to hurt super bad. But, yeah, it's like Chad Gibson saying in the chat. I saw his chat pop up. He's like, doesn't that usually happen already? Yeah, it kind of happens to every team. It's just like, what just happened? And it's not going to be to Vanderbilt or something. But I guess that's my cold water take. I hate to. Yeah. Do you have one?
I have a cold water take, and it's Texas will get one singular Rivals 5-star
in 2024, 25?
In 2025.
And it's going to be Lance Jackson?
No. Oh. Lance Jackson's a 4-star right now. He could become
the Rivals guys are going to make him a 5-star.
He can become a 5-star. He will likely, we hope, become a 5-star. But what I'm saying is, like, throughout the rest of the process, they will get one 5-star. Lance doesn't count. Lance is on the roster. They will get one 5-star the rest of the way. And that player is Jonah Williams, and he will not play for football. He will not play football for Texas. So the one 5-star that they get the rest of the way will not play.
What kind of take is that? Why won't he play football if he commits?
Because he's going to play baseball.
Oh, God, that's the coldest take. That would be, oh, man, people are going
Wouldn't that be the biggest nut kick of all time?
People are going to want to jump off a bridge, Cody, if that happens. Gosh,
wouldn't that be one of the biggest nut kicks of all time? You're like, hey,
shit. I can't. All right. So creeping up on 600 people here in the Specs chat line, man. We cannot thank you guys enough for being here. Can't thank Esron enough for this super chat and his cold take. He says that cold take, the secondary won't be any better. I kind of like this cold take stuff.
Can we pour shame Esron? We shout everybody out when they do the big $20 the big $20. Can we pour shame Esron for doing a $2 one?
Hey, no way. We don't pour.
Sucks.
We're gonna get like $1.25 out of that, Cody. It's gonna be a killer.
Just teasing.
Hey, no. We don't shit, dude. We keep our coffers open around here, Cody. We need all
super chats are appreciated. I'm just teasing Astron. He knows that.
Yeah. And the other great appreciations that we have here is having everybody in the Specs chat line. But there would not be a Specs chat line, of course, without Specs.
Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
All right. Cheers to savings. Cheers to Specs, man. We definitely appreciate them. And I'm in there way too often for my own good. All right. Here's one. How about this? This isn't it. And this is one that you're going to win. What is the single most important weightlifting exercise for football across all positions, if you had to pick one? And I'm asking Cody because Cody's a competitive power lifter.
Across all positions.
Oh, don't say across. What is that about? You added a T. Is that some Minnesota stuff? What is that? Across. Across all positions.
Across.
What is that all
I
about?
didn't even really think about the T before until you said that, because I always say it that way.
Yeah.
Across all positions. Deadlift.
Why?
Yeah.
No, dude, I would have. You could have given me.
chain.
You could have given me a million guesses, and I would have never guessed get deadlift.
Posterior chain. A lot of people will argue and probably tell you power cleans. Power cleans. Hang cleans are
explosion through the hips, man. I would have said power cleans for my first one.
Yeah, hang cleans are probably top 3, top 4, maybe even 2. But some people aren't athletic enough for them. So you'll see like these big offensive linemen that are pretty you know how sloppy these big dudes can get, and you can get hurt doing that. And it also doesn't help if you're not doing it right. That's an exercise you have to be completely like it's a perfectionist.
You got to be locked in, especially on the hang cleans.
Correct. Squat, I would tell you personally, is like my favorite. I think it's the best for building your body, building your muscles, building everything. But for football, I mean, you're really susceptible to back injuries and things of that nature. Bench, you see pec injuries all the time in the sport. I understand the pop is very important for offensive linemen. I mean, being upper bodily strong is very important across the board.
That's the
position
outside power clean too. You got to bring your hips.
Correct. And outside of quarterback, like benching is pretty important, but also you're susceptible to tearing the pec. So there's a multitude of other things you can do, bands, pad work, all this other stuff for that. That's why I would go deadlift, because deadlift is working your entire body, bottom to top, your posterior chain, which is going to help your core. It's going to help your back, going to help your butt, going to help your legs. It's going to help you all throughout. And if if you're deadlifting 700 pounds for, 4, 5, 6, 7 reps, I mean, your body's going to be insanely strong. And think about it from any position, whether it's linebacker, whether it's offensive line, defensive line, probably your skill position guys don't need to deadlift that much weight, but as far as just building your overall body composition, deadlift I would still just rank overall number 1.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say power clean for the hip explosion, but I think Cody's going to win that one. Dude, what is the score so far? Who's up? Are you guys voting?
We have 35 votes. Started 20 minutes ago at 6:30. 35 votes. We have Cody, Alex, and the chat. I put the chat as an option this year.
Okay.
The chat can vote for themselves because they give
the best takes. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, we're never going to win.
Well, the scoring right now is 49% to 34% to 17%.
Don't tell me I'm the 17.
You are the 17.
What? How is this possible? My takes have been spot on. Check. All right, let's get on to the next one. I got some making up to do, or some catching up to do here.
All right, here's a wide open door for you. Now we need the boldest take in the book for 2024.
Oh, bold take. Quinn has to miss like 4 games this season, and Arch comes in and goes just absolutely gangbusters, lights the world on fire, and wins every single game that he has to keep Texas in title contention.
Wait, you got to finish that one. Keep Texas in title contention, or
because I think
coming back.
I think in a situation like that, I don't think that Quinn Ewers can get Wally pipped, but the fan base would certainly say leave him in.
Does Quinn return and like play in like the semis or something in that scenario in your brain?
Yeah, something like that. It's a bold take. It's supposed to be cockamamie and wild.
Well, I was just trying to get the final through it. Was Quinn was out for the year, or
no? I would never say that. It's just like a normal year for Quinn, where he misses a few games.
Okay, all right.
But Arch comes in and goes gangbusters.
Boldest take for me would be, I have a couple. I'm trying to see which one probably the boldest. The boldest, honestly, might be is that DeAndre Moore becomes the alpha of the offense. I'm going to stick DeAndre Moore because I've been pounding the table for DeAndre Moore since we did Football with Friends final takes last fall to go into the season. DeAndre Moore leads Texas in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. He goes north of 1,500 receiving yards and is the alpha of the offense. And at the end, through the end of the year and coming into next year, and people are just in a tizzy because it wasn't Silas, it wasn't Wingo, it wasn't Bond, it was the guy they don't talk about. It was DeAndre Moore the whole time.
Dude, S-Roan 45 just came in a big time. You so bad, Cody. $20
What a dog.
we don't got no cat in these meow cats around here. Man, we got some dogs, dude. Look at S-Roan. $20. Quinn breaks Colts single season records.
S-Roan, I
Hey,
apologize.
man. Yeah,
we love you,
dude. We'll take it for sure. S-Roan,
we love you.
Thank you for the super chat, man. That'll go a long way, and it would go a long way if Quinn broke all those records. If Quinn breaks all those records, Texas is playing in the Natty. There's absolutely no question about that in my mind. All right, I think we have time for a couple more here.
Let's do it. We can hit two more probably.
How about this one? If you could steal one player from any other school to join the Longhorns for the 2024 season, you would choose.
Oh, snap.
Do you want me to tell you mine while you think of yours?
I think I know who yours is, but yeah, I want to hear yours first.
Well, who do you think it is?
Defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Big Ten.
Yeah, number 78 for Michigan.
Kenneth Grant. Yep, I knew it.
I would pick him, and it serves two, really three reasons. One, you take him away from Michigan, you don't got to play him. Two, he comes in and he's one of the best players on the defense, and three, it's such a critical position of need. So whenever I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about the best defensive tackles out there, I think from what I've watched of Grant, I haven't watched all of them this year, but I can't. Cody, you probably know better than I do about the early 2025 stuff, but I can't imagine there's somebody that looks much better than him.
His teammate is currently consensus a top 10 pick.
Well, Grant has to be a consensus top 10 pick then.
Not right now. Graham is.
Okay. Well, I like 78 better. So
okay.
I would pick him.
Okay. I was going to go with his teammate Graham, but for argument's sake, I'm going to go Caleb Downs from Ohio State, because that means you get him away from Ohio State,
right,
and it kind of solves the defensive back question that's up there right now. You bring Caleb Downs in.
Well, then what happens to Makuba and stuff? He just doesn't play.
Well, you already dug that one. So Taft now gets benched because Caleb Downs is now the safety for the Texas Longhorns.
I was every time I remember he transferred to Ohio State, I'm just like, God, they got Caleb Downs. Are you kidding me?
It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense, nor is it fair. Here's my last one. This is kind of a hot question. Final takes. The 2025 Longhorns beat the 2024 Longhorns head to head.
No, man. I don't think so. I think that this team right here is set up for but who knows? It's like, dude, Texas next year, we could look at it and they could be like, "Oh my God, they have the top wide receiver core in the country. Can you believe all the receivers they brought in and all that NIL cash they spent? And can you believe they were able to reload the offensive line with these transfers that are, these ex 5-star dudes who wanted to come home or what? So it's hard to predict, but because I have a hard time. I have a hard time thinking that it would. I think the better question would be. I would say no. I'd pick 2024 with 2025. I think. 2024 versus 2023 is an interesting question, though. Different strengths, players being a year older. I think 2024 is a good is a good culmination of all this stuff. What is this, dude? 50% to 15% to only 35? Have my takes been that bad?
Well, it's 6:56, so I think I'm going to click the end button if you're cool with it.
Well, I mean, it's not like I was going to come back anyway. All right, Cody wins final takes. Congratulations, Cody. You're 1-0. You're 1-0. Let me ask you this one. Let's get the people out with this one. The weekend's coming up. We have our fantasy show, Roster Watch, on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. You can find us there. You can find all our content for fantasy over at rosterwatch.com. Of course, we're testing maniacally the ultimate draft cheat sheets. Cody, you can get an update tomorrow for the standard and 0.5. You can go up to 3 on this thing. 2 points for 3.0.
3.0, baby.
Yeah, I'll be up to like 5.5 and on the PPR, and I'll be up to 4.5 on the Superflex by tomorrow. So if you follow the 3 simple rules at the top of the sheet of paper, an expert quality draft is always guaranteed using the ultimate draft cheat sheets at rosterwatch.com. And of course, we're there to help you out throughout the whole season too. But for people who might just be casually getting back into this and not running hundreds of simulations a day, who's one player you'd like to walk out of every fantasy draft with in 2024, taking all factors into account, such as average draft position, et cetera?
When I type in 3 letters into my computer, into the search bar at the top, MAL.
I knew you were going to say this.
I type in 3 letters. It autofills. MAL autofills, Alex.
So with an IK space NABERS.
Space NO space MATTER space WHAT. Malik Neighbors, no matter what in 2024 fantasy football.
I think that's good. I like Neighbors, especially where you're getting them right now in the 12-team leagues, 5th round, 6th round PPR leagues. It's like it feels like the nuts to get this guy as your wide receiver 3. He's going to have such massive volume. It's like, I'm worried his ADP is going to creep up a lot to where we're going to have a little bit more trouble getting him later. But for now, we're still getting him, and we're staying ahead of the ADP. Of course, we monitor it every day. For me, it's a little bit less sexy. And then, dude, until I hear anything different with the last pick before kickers and defenses, I'm going to just keep taking Brandon Cooks. I'm going to keep taking him, man. We've had Byron Lambert out there at Cowboys camp for our training camp tour. And he's like, dude, Brandon Cooks is free money with the 14th pick in the draft. There's no draft capital to worry about. There's no opportunity cost. And you could end up with a dude in the 14th round that could be a fantasy wide receiver 2 or flex player for you if he's being used in all the ways that Byron says when he's healthy right now. So that'll be mine. It'll be Brandon Cooks. Now, you can email me. It's alex@rosterwatch.com. You can follow us on X at Alex Dunlap NFL, at Cody Carpentier. We can't thank you guys enough, man. It's been 2 weeks. It's been sitting on 600 of you here in the chat. So thank you guys so much. Thanks to Texas Beef Traders. Thanks to Poncho Outdoors. Thanks, of course, to Specs, man. But thanks a bunch to you guys for making it really cool for us to be here, engaging with us in the chat, all that stuff. We know that your time is valuable. We know that we cannot waste your time. And so we want to come here, give you the content that you want, get in, get out, have a bunch of fun doing it. And so that's our mission. Thank you for being here with us.